Okay, guys, today what we're doing is a budget rework. Okay, so what we did in the month of March, we made a plan for what we were hoping was going to happen. So we had a job number one, we were expecting the bulk of our income, but we had a side hustle and then no other forms of income that we were aware of. So a total monthly income of $6,500. Okay. So that money needs to go out. Okay. We have some areas of our expense side of things, which are fixed, like our mortgage, our car payment, car insurance, phone, and cable. Okay. Generally, when we make this side uh, of the budget, we tend to make nice round numbers. We don't like to put change in there, so just make it nice and smooth and easy. You can see I rounded everything here, and typically we'll always round down. Again, that makes us a little bit more frugal. And then on the expense side, we tend to like to round up, okay, to force ourselves again to be a little bit more frugal. But we do want to make sure that there's some savings. Okay. And savings is on the expense side. It is money that is leaving your checking account and going into a savings account. Okay. So it looks like it's an expense, but you are paying yourself. But if you notice all the way down at the bottom, after we tally up all our variable expenses as well, the money that's going out matches the money that came in. Okay. 6,500 came in, 6,500 has to go out. Okay, so all expenses plus savings is going to equal your income. All right, so this was the plan. This is what we were hoping was going to happen, but things don't always work out according to plan. Okay, so in the first week or so of April, I'm going to start to get statements from my bank, from my credit card companies, and I'm going to start looking through receipts and realize what I planned did not actually meet what was actually happened. So what you guys are doing today is you're going to be doing a budget work on your own. You're going to get two documents, a Google Doc that's going to look like this, and a Google Sheet that is going to look like this. Okay. You're going to have to practice putting in some formulas. Okay. And I will make sure that I walk you through every step in this rather long video today. Okay. So the budget rework is in each category, I'm going to notice significant changes from what I actually planned. You'll notice a note all the way down at the bottom. If nothing is listed in a bullet, assume that the budget and actual are the same dollar amounts, and we're going to have a variance of $0. Okay, so when we look up at the first area, this is income. Okay, nothing was listed about job one. So we're going to assume that we made $5,500. We budgeted for it. We actually made it. There is zero variance. So I'm going to put in a formula. I'm going to take equals and I'm going to go arrow over to the next box and I'm going to take whatever's in there and subtract whatever I budgeted. You can see that the difference in this case was zero. Okay, now if I take a look at he only made $750 at job number two. Well, in job number two, I was planning on making 1,000. So this worked out a lot less than I anticipated. Well, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hit Control C to copy the above, and hit Control V, and you can see that the variance was negative. Okay, I wanted to subtract the actual, or take the actual and subtract the budgeted. Okay, and this turns up to be a negative variance. I'm going to go ahead and paste that down here as well because I'm going to need that in a minute. Now, in other, I didn't plan for any other income, but I somehow won a 50-50 raffle. So there's $100 right there. And that was a positive surprise. It was a positive surprise here. Now I'm going to total up what happened above. So I'm going to type in sum parentheses. I'm going to arrow up to the top, hit colon, arrow down to there, close that with a parentheses, and that's going to sum Now, I'm going to have a variance here. So notice what I actually made was less than what I anticipated. So that's a bad thing. We're going to grab the same formula from above. So I'm going to hit Control C and then Control V. See that I have a variance of negative $150. So the parentheses, okay, you can tweak this in Google Sheets. Maybe you're going to get a negative value. You may not be able to get it to look exactly like mine, but red means we're negative. Okay, black means we're positive. Okay, so this is a negative variance, and we'll explore features of Sheets in maybe a later video. Okay, now let's move down to the fixed. Okay, now we're going to have a slightly different variance formula, and you're going to see that in a minute. But let's take a look at fixed. There wasn't a lot different in fixed than in budgeted. Okay, so there was nothing for mortgage. We're going to assume that your mortgage is the same. Okay, and in that case, um, your mortgage, when you sign a mortgage, it's for 30 years. So that 30-year mortgage, that payment's not going to change. Okay? Your car payments, when you take out a car loan, it could be 3 years, it could be 5 years, but when you sign the terms of that, it's fixed and that isn't going to change. So 275 will be the same. Your car insurance payments won't change for that year, but every time you re-up, it could change depending on if rates were going up or if you added on extra insurance, let's say comprehensive windshield or something like that. So car insurance is going to be negotiated one time per year, and that's going to be fixed. That's rarely going to change. Now, your phone bill, okay, if you had a data plan, okay, let's say you only had 2 or 3 gigs of data and you went over your data, then your contract of 150 a month you could go over, and this is we're spending more than we anticipated, so that is going to be a negative value. Okay, so if I use the same formulas above, it would look like a positive. If I did this minus this, that's a positive value. We don't want that, so we're going to switch that. We're going to say what we budgeted minus what actually happened, and you can see that's where our negative comes in. So I'm going to copy that and Control V above, Control V below. Okay, now you can see cable internet. Cable internet was actually 285. So maybe we downloaded some movies, we rented some movies or something like that. So we went over our contracted amount. Okay. Many times the cable company likes to sneak in surprise things on the bill. So my bill is always higher than what I initially signed for. So there you can see your negative variance. It was a bad thing when we spent more than what we anticipated spending. Okay. Now, savings always balances the budget, so I'm going to skip that one for now. But I am going to I'm going to Control C this, and I'm going to Control V everything down below, and I'm going to Control V one more time right there. Oops. Okay. Now, so we're skipping that, and let's take a look in variable. Variable, there's going to be a lot of different errors. Okay, variable expenses change from month to month. Your food bill could be astronomical. So right now we were about $150 per week for the month. We went a little bit over that. Okay, you can see there's a negative variance of $50. Now, gas and electric. Gas and electric. I tried to give myself a little bit of wiggle room, so I rounded up. We came in a little bit under, so that's a positive $25 surprise. Gasoline and tolls. Okay. Now, gasoline and tolls is almost zero since nobody's been moving for a long time. Now, entertainment, we came a little bit under. School and work, 225, well under there as well. Clothing, 125. Okay, but medical, okay. Always want to put something into medical because you never know what's going to happen there. And this month we had a surprise. Maybe we went to a medical facility that was out of our network, went to an urgent care and they didn't take our coverage, something to that effect. So you always want to plan for that. Now, household, we came in underneath. Personal items, 215. Okay, when we were planning on 250, and now other. Okay, since there's always going to be something. I don't know what it is. Could be a flat tire. It could be a cracked windshield. It could be a trip to the urgent care, the emergency room. We never know what it's gonna be, so we always want to budget something for that. So of things I didn't anticipate, we spent 475. Okay, and it looks like this is where we're at right now. So we're going to want to do a quick summation. So equals sum parentheses. I'm going to go all the way up to the top of expenses, and drag all the way down to the bottom, close the parentheses. And if we're looking at this right here, we're a little bit shy. Okay, or actually, I'm sorry, I shouldn't be looking at that budgeted number. I should be looking at the number up top. So $6,350 came in. So far, $5,950 went out. That's going to mean that I believe $400 can go into savings. Okay, remember, what comes in has to match. What comes in has to match what goes out. So every dollar in, every dollar out, that's a balanced budget. That means we take a little bit of a hit in expenses. Now, the way this is geared, you can see that anytime we spent more than what we anticipated, it's a negative value. Anytime we spent less than what we anticipated, it's a positive variance. Now, this is a positive variance in savings because it's money going out of our checking, even though this is the one case where it's counterintuitive because we're not saving as much as we'd like. Okay, so these are dollar value variances. Okay, let's take a quick look at what a percent variance is going to look like. So right next to this, I'm just going to add a column. I'm going to call it percent variance. Okay, and what a percent variance is going to need to do, and it's not going to actually work in the first one. I'm going to compare this value to what we budgeted to see how far we were off. Now, right now, that's giving me a dollar value, and I'm going to change that later. I can actually just go up top and hit the percent key. So you can see that if I relate the variance to what we budgeted, we're off by about 25% to the downside. Now, I can't use that here because I'd be dividing it by zero, so we're going to ignore that. But we can take a look at our variance here. How bad is this? So the variance divided by what we budgeted, enter, and I'll come back and I'll change that to percent. And that's really only a 2% variance. So that's negligible. Okay. We're going to go ahead and look at these down here as well. I'm going to just, instead of typing this in again, I'm going to go ahead and Control C to copy that. I'm going to Control V to put those down in there. I'll do the same thing down here. So I'm going to hit Control V and a Control V here. So what do I want to look at here, of course, is we'd want to analyze things here as far as, well, what happened here? Maybe my hours got cut. I got sick. I couldn't work the extra jobs that I wanted to. So is this variance, although it was big, is this something that's going to happen again? Is it something I'm going to need to plan for going to the next month or March of next year? It could be a one-off event. It could be something I need to change. Now, if I'm consistently going over my data, I might need to figure out a new plan and maybe have to change this value. If I'm going to keep renting movies, then maybe I'm going to need to change this value as well. Okay. Now, everything else looks good down here. The one thing I would say, what happened here? Okay. Is this something that's going to happen again and again? Then I'm going to need to change this number here when I budget for either next month or next March of 2021. Okay. These are things that will alert you of we're not doing a good job budgeting, or we didn't anticipate something that we should have been aware of. It's not a huge deal if we have a variance, but we do want to take a look at these variances. Something that's substantial, big here. Maybe we're budgeting too much money for this. Maybe we're budgeting too much money for household items, clearly in this case. Okay. And putting we always want to put a buffer, but the 32% says, let's take a little bit of a look at this. Okay. So the variances aren't bad, but they are telling us that we need to take a look, analyze, and see if we should go ahead and revise numbers in our next month's or next year's budget.